Hello everybody, this is GamerGar. Welcome back to another video of Stardew Valley. For the purpose of today's video, we are going to bring to you a guide on the easiest to the hardest NPCs to marry in the game. This guide is very opinionated, so I do appreciate comments back from people if you think differently. Let's have a look at the criteria and how we're going to rank these NPCs. Number of loved gifts, difficulty of obtaining loved gifts, is the person easy to find on the map, when their birthday occurs, and their overall character development. Let's break it down a bit more. 1 point per loved gift, so the more loved gift the person has, the better. Difficulty in obtaining loved gifts, high difficulty only get 2 points, easy difficulty to get 6. How easy are they to find on the map? If they're super hard to find, they just get 2, if they're super easy to get 6. We're going to start with Alex here. He has a total of 2 loved gifts, complete breakfast and salmon dinner. Both are difficult to make because first of all you need a house upgrade to make recipes, secondly you need a coop to make complete breakfast, and you can't get salmon in spring. His availability is pretty good, as most of the time he can be found outside of his house, or standing by his dog. His birthday is in summer, so it's not too bad, so you can get lots of friendship points fairly early. Character development I think is good. Alex begins as a bit cocky, bragging about how great he is in sports, but once you start to get to know him, he begins to open up and talks about his family life, which I think is pretty good. I'd give Alex a total rating of 12. Next up, let's talk about Emily. Emily has a total of 9 loved gifts. These include the Adamist, Aquamarine, Cloth Emerald, Jade, Ruby, Survival Burger, Topaz and Wool. All these items are pretty easy to acquire. Her availability is also really good because you can either find her in her living room or at work in the Star Drop Saloon, and she works there most nights. Her character development isn't great in my opinion. Emily has a passion for fashion events. She likes to participate in fashion shows. She's quirky and fun but not very interesting, but that's just my opinion. Her birthday is in spring, so she gets lots of points for the birthday, which is really good. I'd give her an overall score of 23 points. Next up, let's talk about Abigail. She has a total of 7 loved gifts: the Amethyst, Banana Pudding, Blackberry Cobbler, Chocolate Cake, Pufferfish, Pumpkin and Spicy Eel. I'd give her a 6 on the difficulty because the Amethyst is so common in the mines and you can get it pretty early. In terms of availability, she can be found hanging around on the bridge to Georgia Mart or in the graveyard at night, and on Fridays she can also be found in the Star Drop Saloon. So I'd give her maybe 2 points to availability. Character development is very interesting because there's a very long ongoing rumour that she isn't actually Pierre's daughter. She's actually the daughter of the wizard. This makes Abigail very interesting. Her birthday is in fall, so I'd give her an overall total of 20 points. That's pretty good for Abigail. Very interesting character development also. Next up, let's talk about Elliot. He has 6 loved gifts in total: crab cakes, duck feather, lobster, pomegranate, squid ink and tomka soup. Love gifts are all mid to late tier items to get, so he won't get a whole lot of points there. His availability is also very low as he spends most of his time in his cabin on the beach and you need 2 hearts to get into his cabin. His birthday is in fall, so not a whole lot of points there also. And in my opinion, his character development isn't great because Elliot primarily just wants to become a writer, and apart from that, there isn't really anything else to get to know about him. I'd give Elliot an overall total of 12 points. Next up, let's talk about Harvey, the village doctor. He has a total of favourite gifts of 5. These include coffee, pickles, super meal, truffle and wild. Most of these items would be mid game to late game, except for the coffee. You can purchase coffee off Gus, which had to pay 300 gold. So I'll give him 2 points there for difficulty. In terms of availability, Harvey can be found most days in his clinic until 3 PM. After 3, he is more or less impossible to reach as he spends out of his time in his room, which cannot be accessed. His birthday is in winter, which is a long time away. In terms of character development, I find Harvey to be fairly interesting. He is the village doctor, but we find out that he really wanted to be a pilot, but he's afraid of heights. In his 10 heart event though, he faces his fears and brings you on a hot air balloon ride, which is very interesting. He gets 11 points in total. Next up, let's talk about Sam, who has a total of 4 favourite gifts: the cactus fruit, maple bar, pizza and tiger's eye. Cactus fruit can easily be picked up in the desert, and the tiger's eye can easily be gotten from opening up geodes. In terms of availability, Sam is pretty good. You can find him in the Georgia Mart or the museum during the day. In terms of his birthday is in summer, and in terms of his character development, I think it wouldn't be as interesting as others. So Sam, in my opinion, is one of the least interesting NPCs. He likes to play music and wants his band to do well. For his 8 heart event, he brings you to Zuzu City to watch his band. I'll give him a total score of 14 points based on that criteria. Next up, let's talk about Sebastian, who has 5 love gifts in total: the frozen tear, obsidian, pumpkin soup, sashimi and void egg. The frozen tear is easy to pick up in the mines and sashimi can be made with any fish. In terms of availability, Sebastian spends a lot of time working on his PC, so you need 2 hearts to get into his room. Other than that though, you can easily find him in the evenings, smoking outside of the lake. His birthday is in winter, and in terms of character development I feel like Sebastian seems to be very much alone or overshadowed by MARU. As you get to know him, he opens up to you and he says he wants to move from Pelican Town into Zuzu City to be a programmer. I'd give him a total of 15 points. Next up, let's talk about Shane with a total of 4 loved gifts: bear, hot pepper, pepper poppers and pizza. Pizza and bear can be purchased from Gus, making his loved gifts very easy. Availability is quite good as he works in the mornings in the Jojo Mart and spends his evenings in the Star Drop Saloon. His birthday is in spring and his character development is very interesting. Shane develops most of all, in my opinion, because he starts off very rude and cold, but the more you get to know him, the better he becomes. We also help him recover and he gets over his alcohol addiction. He loves jazz very much and he also loves his chickens. He does a total 180. I'd give him a total of 20 points. Next up, let's talk about Hayley. She has 4 loved gifts: coconut, fruit salad, pink cake and sunflower. Coconuts are easy to get once you unlock the desert. Sunflowers can be grown in summer and fall, so that's pretty good. In terms of availability, Hayley can be found standing by the fountain by the community centre, but has a very varied schedule each season. This means she can be hard to locate at times, but usually somewhere you can access. Character development is pretty good. Hayley begins very stuck up and rude, but once you get to know her she opens up. She loves photography and even falls off one of Marley's cows, which she finds very funny covered in mud. She gets a total of 19 points based on that criteria. Next up, let's talk about Leah, who has 7 loved gifts: goat's cheese, poppy seed muffin, salad stir fry, truffle, vegetable medley and wine. You can get salad from Gus, giving her lots of points for favourite gifts. Now, availability, she spends a lot of time in her house painting and sculpting. If you don't have the 2 heart events with her, you can't enter her house, making it difficult to get to know her. Her birthday is in winter, which isn't great. In terms of character development though, Leah is an artist who wants to get her work more visibility, but she's very nervous to display it. With your help, she gets the confidence to showcase it. I'd give her a good total of 16 points based on that criteria. Next up, let's talk about MARU. MARU has over an abundance of favourite gifts, but one of the easy ones to get for her are cauliflower and strawberries, as you can grow those in spring. She can be found in the lab in her house or working in the clinic. She does spend a lot of time though in her room, which can only be accessed during the shop opening hours. Her birthday is in summer. Her character development I find it's interesting enough. She outshines her half brother as she's very smart and is always busy with work or projects. She designs and builds a robot to help her parents out when she moves out of the house, but the robot becomes intelligent and decides it does not want to stay and leaves. I'd give her a total of 22 points. Next up, let's talk about Penny. Penny has a total of 9 favourite gifts, but the easier ones in my opinion would be the diamond, the emerald, the melon and the poppy. You can get the diamond and the emerald in the mines, you can get the melon and the poppy in summer, you just grow those. Penny can easily be found teaching the kids in the museum. She can also be found in the town, reading or chatting with MARU. In terms of character development, Penny is very sweet and nice. She's stuck living in a small dirty trailer with her mother Pam. Penny struggles with her mother, addiction to alcohol, and is desperate for her to stop drinking. Character development is pretty interesting. I'd give her a good 23 points. That is basically all of the characters covered in this video. Let's bring up a list here now on where the characters ranked. Now this is very opinionated, so make sure you leave a comment and let me know if you disagree or agree. As you can see, we have tales from S down to D, S being the easiest candidates to marry, and also who I find the most interesting, D being the hardest candidates to marry, and NPCs I find the least interesting. Let me know in the comments if you think differently, I'd love to hear from you. So I'm going to leave the video here and I hope you enjoyed it. Stardew Valley content is uploaded Sundays, Tuesdays and Thursdays, so subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I hope you have a great day. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified for my future videos. And as always, have a great day.